in this Toyota update, we're going to be going over a few things. I got a new fuel pump level sensor, which I do not think will work because it looks pretty far bent. And I got a new gauge that I'm going to run separately off of it so I don't have to go to the dash. I also have these floodlights to replace these other lights that I had, like I was talking about in the last video. So hopefully that will give me more of a flood feature that I'm looking for. And then we have a 22-inch light bar. I'm pretty sure it's amber. I like the way that it came out. And then these are going to hold it to the bumper. Unfortunately, I know that these will already not work, but that is okay. We're going to try to make them work. And then these are some wiper blades to replace the old ones just because they're old. So it's good to have these for when you go through mud and stuff. Looking at the fuel level sensor, they are quite a bit different. I hope that this one will still work. As you can see, it's a lot shorter than this one. This one looks like it'll reach deeper in the tank. But the angles seem to be the same when they're at, at full. Kind of the same, maybe. I'm not sure. So hopefully it'll work. I don't think it'll work. There's no way. Yeah, this thing won't work. We'll see. I'll still put it in. Today I decided to take the 4Runner to work, which is my other Toyota. And on the way home, I actually lost a brake line on the highway. So still got it home with barely any brakes left, but that means I need to finish this one up to be able to get it in the garage after. So I got the light bar on last night, got it wired in. That means I just have the fuel pump level sensor thing. This one is quite different. I think I already mentioned that. We got the fog lights already on but not wired in. And then wipers, which will take like 2 minutes. And we just have to put this board back down. I can drive it as is. Like, I don't need all this to be done so I can get it out of here. I just want to actually finish something before I start something else. So I think the light bar looks pretty good. It kind of gives it that, like, I was kind of going for a Baja truck or something like that. This thing's not fast whatsoever, but I thought it'd be cool. Before I wire up this fuel level unit, making sure it works. And when it's at the full mark, it only reads, what is that? Just under a quarter tank, but when it's at the empty, it reads a full tank. There we can see it a little bit better. It is at the empty, straight down, and it's reading full. And then if I go the other way, at full, it's just under a quarter tank. This is a 90 ohm with the stock style fuel levels unit, which I had to rebend so it was a little bit straight. The one that I got was all bent up. You can kind of still see it a little bit, but I try to make it a little bit better. It still works, it's just reversed. I'm not sure. The other day I had a oil drip under this tire, which was actually that spot right there, and my brother pointed it out to me before I pulled out. So today I'm finally taking a look at it, and there is actually oil all on the inside, coating the inner side of the drum and the pads themselves. So I think my seal for the rear end went out. I'm gonna have to replace that because my brakes are not braking right now with all this oil on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, probably take this out. I don't know how to actually do this, but probably watch a YouTube video before and figure out how to do it. Hopefully I can get a new seal in there pretty quickly. Still drives around fine, but it uses the other 3 brakes, but hopefully I can get this one figured out. Today on the 83, I got the seats out. I'm going to vacuum out some of this dirt that's in here. And then I'm actually going to be doing bed liner on it to kind of cover up this white and make it all one color, make it look a little bit nicer. But I got one seat out. And then got the other one out. I'm going to put another zip tie on here. I do orange just because it's under the seat. And that way you can see it better if you do need to cut it and rerun some stuff. But yeah, I'm going to clean out this side as well. And then do that. I think it's like Rust-Oleum bed liner that I'm going to be using. And then I'm just going to be doing like a roll-on, cover up all this and make it all one color. I'm about to start painting the floor in the 83. And I'm going with this truck bed Rust-Oleum coating for the painted portion. And then I'm also going to be rolling it on with this right here. I'm going to roll it on here. And then for under the seat, I'm only going to do this gloss protective enamel, probably about, 6 inches, just to where you can't see it anymore under the seat. Got the wiring harness all disconnected from it so I can pull it away and kind of, I don't know if I'm going to do up here a little bit yet, but I'll probably just end up doing the floor with it. Who knows? We'll find out. But this is what it's looking like before. Might even set up a little time lapse for it. We'll see. But hopefully this should be enough. I didn't go with the Raptor liner or the real expensive stuff because kind of want to see how this works out. I bought this on sale. Unfortunately, I thought I was getting a whole gallon of it, but I guess this stuff is just pretty expensive. So we're going to try this out and go from there. So this is the first coat of the Rust-Oleum. I ended up doing it here too instead of the spray paint just because it seemed easier and I really wasn't using that much. But I'm going to get over to the other side, clean it up, kind of do the same thing, and get it ready for paint as well. I got this side all cleaned out, so I'm going to bring the paint over here and do the exact same thing. But this time I actually lined out where I want to have it. The other one I kind of just followed where the brush went, and I kind of like that it only showed about an inch. So I'm just going to do the same on this side, but line it out so it actually comes out kind of clean. We'll see how it is. This truck did have floor pans put in it, so this is kind of covering that up a little bit more too. He did them really well, but still. Alright, I'll knock this side out real quick. So it's getting a little cold and I'm painting here, so I'm hoping that by putting a little heater in here, then I have my fire welding blanket over on top of it. Hopefully that'll keep the paint curing correctly. It is pretty nice and warm in here, so I think it's coming out pretty good. This is the second coat. I think I'm going to do probably 3 or 4 coats. I do have enough paint. I was kind of worried I wouldn't have enough, but I have plenty. So I'll have enough to do this and then fix spots on the frame like that, or back here or something. So I think it's coming out pretty good. I just got that axle out of the Toyota and you can see looks pretty dirty in here. You can see a little bit of oil at the bottom. Honestly, not really sure on what I'm looking at, but I mean, it looks like there is an oil leak or a seal blown out. Not quite sure on which one went, but at least this bearing still looks fine in here. Hopefully by just replacing the seals will be good. I just had an oil leak. I didn't have a sound or anything. This one actually looks pretty decent. I don't know. I'll clean it up and kind of take a look at it. But I'm also going to count the splines on here just to see how many I have, because there's like 2 different axles. I think there's like a 36 or a 38. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just to understand what I have and know in the future if I need to buy any more parts. But that's what it looks like right now. Clean it up and show it after. This was actually really easy to get off. I feel like he's had it off before, or whoever has owned this truck has had it off before, just because it seemed like the bolts were actually pretty easy to get off. Or it may be because I'm not used to working on a rust-free truck, even though this still has rust on it. in Michigan, that's pretty good for how old it is. So after looking at it, it looked like my bearings were gonna be fine. They don't look blown out or nothing, but if I try to hold it still, you can see the axle move on the inner edge of the bearing. Right there. So unfortunately, I think that means I need to buy the bearing too. Here, that's a better look at it. That sucks. I'm all done painting up the floor in the 83, and right now I'm working on putting the amplifiers right here on a switch, and then from the switch it will go to the fuse to the amps. I just wanted something that I could turn them off in case, like if I was trying to start it and like these are pulling too much because they were on or something, so I don't want that to drain the battery in the worst case scenario. So I just want to have these on a off switch just so I can, you know, use most of the electric power to start the engine if I were ever in a bad situation. So once I get, I'm gonna actually probably put the seat in just so I can figure out where I want to mount the switch. And then you can see I did the orange zip ties again just so I can see them under the seat. Usually everywhere else I like to keep it black, but I think I have another orange zip tie. Yep, just where you can't see it, in case if you're ever working under the dash, you can kind of figure out where they are and you don't have to keep pulling a bunch of wires. So black along here, orange where you can't see. So that's kind of what I do. I'm gonna get the seat in and kind of figure out where I can put this switch, and then finish wiring it up. Put a fuse in here. I'll probably put, I think I have 100 amp or 150 amp, so that should be enough for that. I have it all back together right now. The only two bearings that two like seals that I replaced was this. This is the like axle seal. Kind of goes between, sits right there on the end of this, the actual axle housing itself. I couldn't get to this dust seal. That's what I wanted to replace the most. And then these are, of course, the bearings. I talked to a professional, and he said to just replace these and still see if it, you know, if it leaks. He said that the bearing looked pretty good in there, so despite it having that little bit of wobble, which I thought would matter, I guess he didn't mind it. But I can always take it apart and go further with it. But he did say that the retainer that goes around the axle is pretty hard to get on correctly. But I didn't think so with the videos that I watched. But he said that this should be fine. I'm not a big fan of doing it half-assed like that, but I guess I'll put it together and see if I still have the leak. And then I'll go that one step further and then buy myself a hydraulic press so I can just do it myself instead of relying on someone else to do it. I also have new brake shoes coming Friday. Today's Monday. So I will be replacing these because these were all oil soaked, and then you can see on this side it's actually splitting away a little bit. I flaked a little piece off showing my dad. But yeah, these are definitely not safe to be riding around on, so I will be replacing these, but they'll be fine to go around the yard and then also see if it leaks more so I don't ruin a new pair of pads, and I can ruin these if it still leaks. So I guess that's one benefit if you can look at it like that. But I already went ahead and brake cleaned as much as I can. Looks pretty fine without using, 5 cans of brake clean. The inside of here also looks fine. It doesn't look like there's any large ridges from the pads or anything, so they should be wearing relatively good. You can see on here they have like kind of a half moon. It's pretty thin up here, but down here there's still a little bit of pad left. But these aren't machine perfect, so that's fine. the drum looks good. Hopefully this hasn't been turned on like a lathe or anything already. It actually looks to be in pretty good shape. Eventually I do want to do the disc brake conversion for this, but it's like $500, and with me already buying a bunch of different bearings and bushings that I don't need, that $500 might take a little bit longer, so we'll see. One thing I forgot to mention is on my many different attempts to try to get this thing loose, there's this hole that is pre-drilled into the hub right here, so I put a punch through it, and I was going to try to go back there, but I didn't know that there's this little plate that sits right behind it, and I ended up bending that pretty decent. I did already bend it back a little bit, and it does not catch anywhere. There's plenty of room all the way around the hub, so I'm not worried about it. I meant bend it back a little bit more with, I have a C-clamp that I was squishing it down with, so, but feels fine. Just wanted to show that real quick. As you can see, it did not work because I did not replace the bearing or anything like that. I basically pogo sticked this thing for about 2 days, and it does. I don't like how much that moves. I don't know if you can see that. I feel like that's a bad bearing. Before I take this for a test drive, I just wanted to show that these were the bushings or bearings that I did replace. And as you can see, this one is separated, but it wasn't when I got in there. This could have been it, or it could have been this outer seal. But that's everything that I replaced, and that's everything that I didn't. So fortunately, we didn't get as much work done as I wanted to, but we'll see if they still leak. I'm gonna go take it for a test drive right now, and this is the interior all buttoned up. There's already some dirt in there from bleeding the brakes, but this is with the bed liner in. It's pretty nice. Got a bunch of oil on my hand, so I don't want to wipe it in there, but I like it so far. It kind of cleans up the interior a lot. Makes it a little bit more one color and black. So I think this is where I'm going to end off this video. I think it's looking pretty good. It's running pretty good. We added the light bar, touched this up. Did some work in there. We got the interior looking good and all buttoned up. We got a fuel gauge, even though it is flip-flopped. I'll understand. I 3D printed the fuel gauge holder, waffle, did some door cards. Got that done. Overall, the interior looks pretty good. Kind of sort of fixed that, but not really. And then I think we did that in this video too. The lights in the back. We got the passenger side looking pretty good, all buttoned up. We got a the amps put on a on and off switch, so I can conserve battery when I need. We got all the wiring all buttoned up. That's fine for now. I'll probably get some wire loom later. I do have to work on getting the linkage. There's like a little plastic ring that sits down in there, and I think that might be my problem for first and reverse feeling weird. But other than that, I think we're looking pretty good. And the nice door card on the passenger side. I do like how I did the driver's side more. I cut under this line instead of just over it. I'll probably fix that. But yeah, overall, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Can't wait to take it to the off-road park soon.